From here, the only way to follow him was by camel.
Just check this. An outsider will die on this route, yeah? Is that right?
An outsider will die.
God,
You won't be able to find anyone.
Oh, great. That's extremely comforting to know. Is there water on the route? Are there actually spring water holes along the route, or do we have to carry the water?
He says that there is very few water springs. He
Oh, that's
said,
great.
if I go, I can't find those.
We better take somebody with us who can. Then.
इसका उस्तरा हाँ शाबाश पादा ना पादा
And so we left the burning shore by the great rock of Pasni, in the footsteps of Alexander's last epic march. The journey for Alexander's army soon became a nightmare.
Greeks came into an area of great hills of sand, and then Arrian says their feet sank in like treading into untrodden snow, and the horses and the mules just couldn't cope with that at all because they didn't have camels as we do. And sometimes Arrian says they had to go through the whole night without water, and in the morning they'd be leaving people behind who were sick or ill or just too tired or absolutely dying of thirst. And of course, those people were never seen again. They were lost, says Arrian, like people fallen overboard and lost at sea.
Now, for the first time in his life, he was staring at defeat.
Why did he come here to the Makran? I just don't know. He was trying to get back to Iran, I guess. But why he came here to this coast, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Alexander became greatly distressed because they were travelling through such awful terrain, says the geographer Strabo. According to one source, only a quarter of the army survived. The truth will never be known, but even though he was in such desperate straits, Alexander still showed flashes of his old self.
Alexander was leading the army on foot, as he often did, to encourage the troops, and everybody was absolutely desperate for thirst. And some soldiers found a tiny bit of water in a dried up stream bed and brought it to him just in a helmet. And in front of the whole army, he poured it away into the sand. If they couldn't drink, then he wouldn't. The Greeks always cited this story as being proof of his noble character. Personally, I find it a little frightening that after all that he'd put them through, they could still be won over by his tricks.
But the truth is, they still loved him and still needed his leadership to pull them through. And he still needed them in order to be Alexander.
Out here you really do wonder why on earth he brought his army through this appalling wilderness. Almost makes you wonder whether he wanted to punish them for what happened at the Bias River, for not following him to the ends of the earth. But among the Greeks, the most popular explanation was this: simply that it was there. He'd been told the journey was impossible for an army, and because of his inner demon, he just had to do it. He had to excel everybody. He had to do what nobody else had done.
And of course, in the past, his gambles had always paid off. It took him 60 days to get through the Makran,